What the heck happened in Murphysboro, Illinois in 1973? Stick around. We're going to talk about Big Muddy. Good evening, planet Earth and beyond, and welcome to Talk is Cheap. Fair warning, Mars, we're coming to settle ya, so I hope you have your house in order.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. You know, we're in the Talk is Cheap studios tonight. My name is Pete Halbleib. I'd like to welcome you all, and I'd like to welcome as well to my right, Mr. Dan Hohlfeld.
Yo! In the house.
In the house, that's right. In the studio.
In the studio.
How's it going?
Pretty damn well. On the brink here of spring.
Yeah, it's fighting its way in. You know, getting some nice weather here and there, and now that it seems that the flooding is subsiding somewhat. You know.
Oh yeah.
Geez. Oh yeah. So I will tell you this, Dano. You know, last time we met, we did a show on those big booms. You know, and we talked about all the different potential things for it. I'll tell you what, I have been listening for big booms, and I have not heard any yet. But
no,
nope, not yet. But it's kind of interesting. I'm patiently awaiting, you know, to start hearing them, because a lot of times, I forget what it's called, but a lot of times when somebody mentions something to you about something peculiar, something unique, you start seeing it more often. You're more receptive to it. You know, there's a name for that, and I forget what it is.
Yeah. You bring attention to it, so it's like it's more.
Yeah, like if you say, hey, you know, Volkswagen Beetles are cool, you know, keep your eye out, they're everywhere. You're going to start seeing Volkswagen Beetles around. You know,
exactly.
Yeah, it's just weird like that. So, anyway, how's life treating you? Ooh, he's got to think about it.
There's some ups and downs,
yeah,
but we'll muddle through.
Okay,
I always do.
Yeah, is it at least averaging out to an acceptable level?
It is. I'm actually happy because a lot of stuff is selling. I'm trying to be more of a minimalist selling stuff.
Oh, so you're selling stuff.
I am. I got rid of one drum set now, so I only got one left.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, you tried to sell me a weed whacker earlier.
Oh, yeah. Did you say that it was a bad weed whacker or a battery weed whacker?
Battery.
Okay, because it came out bad on the text.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. No,
so I thought maybe they were bad and you didn't like them anymore.
No. Oops.
Exactly.
I didn't catch the autocorrect on that one. So
right. Autocorrect has been like my enemy some days.
Yeah, it can go
fighting with it.
Yeah, it can go south on you quick if you're not paying attention.
That's right. That's a true story.
Okay. So anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about an interesting event that happened back in the 70s to our neighbors to the south. For those of you that aren't exactly sure where the top secret K2D4 network studios are, it's in Wisconsin. So
that's the best to get.
Yeah, that's the best I'm going to give you. So our neighbors to the south, Illinois. We're going to talk about a creature, or I will say, you know, something, I guess we're all creatures too, that has come to be known as Big Muddy, or the Big Muddy Monster, or the Murphysboro Mud Monster. Took place in a southern Illinois town in Murphysboro. And I'm going to stop saying Murphysboro because it's actually quite difficult to say.
It is.
And I hope that, that I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Exactly.
But I'm sure Ben will let me know if I'm not. Okay, so before we start, I want to play a quick sound clip, Dan, if you don't mind queuing up the sound clip.
We'll do.
And just everybody give it a listen here.
Jeez. That's in your face.
Yeah, it is in your face. It's up close and personal. So allegedly, according to YouTube, this is an actual recording of the Big Muddy Monster from June 26, 1973. So I just want to kind of throw it out there. You know, if I'm outside, it's dark, camping or whatever, even just like sitting in a car, and I hear this outside, I will be taking actions very quickly to vacate the area. So anyway, how the story goes, it starts on June 25th, 1973. There was a couple, let's say, parked in an area known for, say, romantic stuff, and they happened to look over and see a huge, wet, hairy, mud-slathered creature. Okay. They immediately took off, went to the police station, and filled out what is known as an unknown creatures report, describing something that looked like an oversized gorilla. They thought it was about 8 feet tall. And the unique thing here with this particular sighting is it had wet, matted, mud-covered hair, and it was white hair. Officer James Nash from the Murphysboro Police Department was the first to respond. Okay. He went out and investigated the area. He found some peculiar tracks. He estimated them about 10 to 12 inches long and about 3 inches wide. Not your typical Bigfoot track, right? Only 12 inches, 10 to 12 inches long and 3 inches wide. Not really a Bigfoot. But they were in the mud near the riverbank, and he heard a horrifying scream or screech nearby. One would maybe assume that is very similar to what we just listened to. Allegedly, in his haste to retreat from the area, he dropped his service revolver, which is kind of a no-no, I'm guessing, even for cops in 73. This wasn't Mayberry, after all. And so anyway,
exactly.
There was police reports filed, and coincidentally enough, the very next night at about 10 o'clock, 10:30 in the evening, there was a 5-year-old child playing in his backyard, which kind of throws a flag up for me. 10:30 at night, 5-year-old child playing in the backyard. That's
a true story,
right? It's the 70s, though, so a lot. We didn't have seat belts back then, folks. And you know where babies sat when they rode in the cars?
Front seats.
On the mother's lap in the front seat. Yeah, so there was no car seats either. So anyway, so it was a different time back then. But anyway, 5-year-old Christian Barrel was playing in his backyard, and allegedly his home was located near the Big Muddy River, and he happened to look up and see a white shape in front of him, looking at him from behind the fence that separated his yard from his neighbor's, the Rays. So anyway, long story short, Barrel ran in, said, "Mom, Dad, there's something outside." There's a Cheryl Ray, now Cheryl Roth. She was sitting on her porch when they said, and this is the Ray family, they said they happened to look out, heard a rustling in the bush, and about 15 feet away from the porch, they saw something, and I quote, "The thing I remember was the bulk of it, the shape, the human form, and the stench of the river slime it apparently had on it. It was about 8 feet tall, and and this is funny, and is at least as stocky as a New York football player. We were within 15 feet of it, close enough to see the body, the texture of the fur, and the texture of the fur, which was long and hairy like an English sheepdog." So there's two accounts of the big muddy monster. Now, the interesting thing is that these were not the only two accounts, Dan. There were multiple accounts over the next few years, but these seem to be the more well-documented accounts, where we actually have quotes. And in a minute, we'll take a look at some of the police reports and stuff like that when they're talking about it. Now, before we get into that, though, all up and down the Mississippi River, there's been a lot of Bigfoot sightings. Illinois is not a unique place as far as Bigfoot sighting. There's tons of them coming out of Illinois. You know, you start heading towards southern Illinois, and you're getting into some fairly rural type areas. So it doesn't really surprise me at all that something like this would go on. What's unique about this one is two things, if you ask me. One, that it's reported being covered in mud and wet and river slime, so it seems to be living in the river somehow. And the fact that it's white is peculiar.
Yeah, because if you're covered in mud, why would it be white? I guess it could.
Yeah,
I
right.
guess,
Or
is there
did
white
it know
mud?
enough to cover itself up with the mud because it knew it was white? You know, it's not fitting the normal Sasquatch MO that you hear, and that's and I haven't said that yet, but I'm sure folks have figured out that's where I'm going with this. But what's so interesting about it is you've got people that have went on record, went as far as to file police reports of something that they saw that scared them. And additional reports came in. Let's listen to that that first clip again that we brought the show in. I want to listen to that scream again.
I gotta back it up here.
Yeah, yeah, you can start it there.
That's nasty.
Yeah, that's not messing around, whatever that is.
So, with all your Bigfoot experience, Pete, would you say that this is a PO'd big guy, or
yeah, Sasquatch or something? Well, you know, a lot of these types of vocalizations, when you talk to people, and of course, we don't have Bigfoot tribes or clans or groups to study, so it's all speculation, right, by people that have compiled anecdotal evidence. This would be considered more of a warning scream.
Okay.
Saying, hey, you're getting a little close to my area. I'm going to give you a warning to get out. That's how I would interpret it. I feel that that's how a lot of people would interpret it as well. Of course, you know, your mileage may vary. Everybody's an armchair quarterback. But what I want to do next is I want to listen to a couple other Bigfoot sounds. These are not allegedly from the Murphysboro monster, because I totally understand that really that could be anything and somebody just put it on YouTube. But what I want to do is I want to listen to some other roars and screams that were recorded and just kind of listen to the consistencies and the differences of it. The first thing I noticed with that first one was that it did sound like it was coming from a large, you know, creature or something. You know, it didn't sound like a fox or a raccoon over squealing or something. You know, I mean, it sounded like there was some I guess what do you want to say?
Beef?
Yeah, beef behind it. Yeah, some mustard in that.
That's probably not the right word.
Yeah,
either.
no, but you know what I'm saying. So here's another one that I'd like us to listen to, and this is a guy out with his camera.
Almost like a wolf. Coyote.
I think that's all we're going to hear. Let's play that one again. Just go to about 310 on that one, I think. Go up to oh no. One more time, Dano.
It's weird. It's like it's got that. It's almost like it sounds like a coyote wolf, but it's got more of a
it starts pretty low and then works its way up. And what I get a kick out of this is that the second this guy hears it, he starts backing away from whatever made that noise, you know. And this was an alleged. He was going to an area after he had an encounter the night before, and he was going out in the day to look for prints and stuff like that. And then this happened, and that's I think partly why he backed away. And so if you go, go to the next one and play that one. And there's some language in here, folks. So it comes right after the roar. So if you want to get on the beeper,
you gotta warn people.
I am warning, and there's a warning right on the screen here.
Huh?
I think. Okay, keep playing it. I'm like, oh, it's the swearing's coming. The swearing's coming.
If it goes, it goes. I guess we'll try to.
What that is? Scary shit.
Did it? Did we hear it already?
I think that was the only one.
That was pretty quiet.
Yeah, start it back over.
Scary shit.
Yeah, we doubled it up. Okay, play that again.
That sounds like more like a trumpet or
Yeah, right. Much higher pitch. So
Yeah.
it's not that scream roar that we heard. But what I find interesting here is that you've got somebody out with their camera, and you know how these recordings don't really do it justice. You know, you're missing a lot of the top end, low end, and stuff, and a lot of details are getting lost in the recording. But I always find the reactions is interesting too. And now I don't want to play the reaction again because there's adult language there, and we're not all about that. But you know, hearing somebody react like that, there's something to be said about that. You know, it's obviously a noise they aren't used to hearing, but I thought it was interesting. That one. There's one more I think we got too, right?
Let's see here. Yeah, Sasquatch screaming in
Sasquatch screaming in Washington.
That one's really low.
Oh. They were swearing on that one too.
I gotta be honest, this is probably the scariest one. Man.
Yeah, can you imagine being
It's
out
almost like, oh, like what? Like something's ready to like kill you.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah, you know, and I bet, I'm guessing that some of our viewers will say, "Oh, that's a mountain lion." You know, this is that, and you know, it could be, but you know, just the reactions of the folks and just hearing something like that. You know, I can't quite put my finger on it, and I'm not an expert on all things animal, but I thought at least we would listen to the different Bigfoot screams that are allegedly out there.
So to clarify, is Muddy Monster a Bigfoot? Would it be classified as that or not quite because of the size now?
Well, you know, I think that if it really was an 8-foot tall ape-like creature, that's squarely in the Bigfoot camp. But we're going to take a look at some of these alleged footprints here in a second too, and that's where I don't necessarily big. And you know, and we mentioned before, you know, they were only 10 to 12 inches long, 3 inches wide. That's not. Our feet are bigger than that, so that's not a Bigfoot. So for something to be 8 foot, it's interesting.
Yeah, for it to be able to stand up on something like that.
But I do have a kind of a speculative theory about when we look at the pictures, what's going on. Anyway, so I think it is a Bigfoot. What's interesting too, and as we were talking here, it kind of a revelation came to me. You know, we said, well, it's white, and what good is white? You know, and he's rubbing mud on him. Well, you know, if it's most Sasquatch reports are, you know, dark brown, black. You do get some of the blondes, the tans, the white. You do get some of those reports. But perhaps this one realized that it was a little different than the others and was doing the old predator mud bath, you know, thing on it. So it could hide out a little bit. Found out that if it hung out in the muddy banks of the big muddy river, it wouldn't
get seen.
Yeah, it wouldn't get seen as much. So, yeah, okay, good. You brought it up. Awesome. Here is what I have been led to believe is the official folder that the police were keeping their reports. And what we're going to take a look at, what's following, are some of the police reports that were filed. And
question.
Yes.
So we got this envelope here. So how does ink last after it was on 1973?
Right, when that's all, yeah, okay, so red flag. I'll give you that one because that looks like pretty fresh ink on there compared to the condition of the envelope. Yeah, I agree. So maybe they just got the envelope and then just wrote it on there to take the picture.
Right.
It seemed cool.
Yeah, because maybe the sign was falling off already or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah, or maybe it's on the other side and it's really crappy, so they wrote it on there.
Did they have markers back in 1973?
Oh, I'm sure they had markers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because because markers they came out just anyway. So okay, continue. Let's scroll down a little bit, and there was one. Zoom in on this a little bit. We're just going to take a quick peek at this police report, and there's one thing that I'm looking for here, and I couldn't highlight because this is a PDF. Okay, this is perfect. The second paragraph, it says officers inspected.
Yep.
We're going to go down, and this is, they talk about a dog that's tracking this, okay? And I'm going to read, as the dog started down the hill, it kept stopping and sniffing at a slime substance on the weeds. The slime appeared periodically as the dog tracked the creature. Nellis put some of the slime between his fingers, rubbed it, and it left a black coloring on his fingers. Okay. So whatever it was dropping a slime substance that at least the police noticed. Very peculiar. That does not fit any of the normal Sasquatch type sightings we see, but maybe it was dropping something from the river. Who knows? Hanging out at the nuclear power plant where the discharge was. I don't know. I wasn't there, but that was a very peculiar thing. Continue to scroll down.
And it says by the pond, so maybe we were talking some slimy stuff.
And there's Mrs. Harry Ray, Cheryl Ray. There's Jay Nash, that's the patrolman. So there's the Rays, the neighbors that filled out, and a full investigation took place. Go ahead and continue scrolling down or over. What does it say there? Oh, yeah, here. This is another great one, too. So they began the search again with the dog, and I'm going to skip to the end of that first paragraph. And, or actually, I'm not. I'm going to skip to the middle of it. It says, Nellis pushed the dog inside, and the dog immediately ran out. This dog did not want to go into a barn. They, Officer Nash and Officer Nellis then searched the barn and found nothing inside. The dog was trained to search buildings and never back down from anything. They couldn't offer an explanation as to why the dog became scared and not go inside the barn. Of course, they were unable to locate the creature. So this is another thing, too, that's very consistent with Sasquatch sightings, is that many times the dogs that they bring out to track them get to a certain point and then refuse to continue. It's like something instinctual with them knows that, okay, we've gone far enough. So this could have been the thing that creature could have been hanging out in the barn. The dog got there. There's enough scent, and the dog just knew instinctually, I'm not messing with anything. Go ahead. There's some more police report stuff here too, Dano. Oh no, those are different ones. Anyway, you know what? We don't really need to go and pour over these, but what I wanted to say is that with a quick Google search, we found this PDF, and it's right from the Murphysboro website, you know. Oh, good. I'm glad you brought this up. Okay, so here's a picture of the tracks. Okay. They don't look overly big. They don't look overly foot-like. It's tough to tell how deep that mud is.
That looks more of like a scrape.
Yeah, or a shovel got stuck in there or
something.
Yeah,
shovel. That's a good way.
You know, I'm wondering if, depending on how deep this mud is, if the foot went in and as it pulled out, it kind of closed back up on itself.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know, that the foot, but it looks like kind of a shovel thing. And what was also interesting is that
this must be a branch here.
Yeah, or a twig of some sort.
So it didn't. Shouldn't this? Does it look like the twig is down? I guess
it's not completely pressed in. You're absolutely right. Because you can see it's almost like that twig was there later or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because that twig's sitting on pretty much on top.
But then again, it does look like there is some mud on that. The top there, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like maybe it was pressed in and somebody grabbed it and pulled it out or something.
Maybe it was stuck right here and then it came back up.
Or something. And there's another photo too. And the interesting thing too is these pictures, or these footprints rather, seem to vary. Some of them were close together, some of them were further apart. But as far as Sasquatch tracks go, that's not very, very impressive.
No, I wouldn't even consider that like
a track, right? Yeah, but he must have noticed something in some sort of pattern. Yeah, because look there's a leaf there. That's not very big at all. That's 4 inches.
You're absolutely right.
That's not very big.
I mean, we're kind of guessing what size that leaf is, but still.
And there's another one to the right of it. They're kind of in.
That's probably looks like a maple leaf.
It looks kind of like it, yeah, or something. And then here's some artist renditions of some of the folks that have claimed to see it.
So are these actual grown adults, or are these kids?
It looks to be kids to me. Scroll down a little bit. What does that say? Oh, scroll up a little bit. There's a signature on the right. I think it says Cheryl Ray. Yep, so that's Cheryl Ray, one of the witnesses. That's what she drew with what she saw. And then there's another one. What does that one say? I can't read that. Creeth. Creeth was another name that showed up on that police report too. So the Creeth saw it. And then there's some letters from
Good
that little kids were writing. Oh, actually, this one here, read that. Look at that one. So here's to the office of the mayor of Murphysboro. There was enough concern that the mayor's office was notified and suggested that they put out some sort of statement because they're worried about vigilante groups now going out and trying to hunt this thing or seeing something and scroll down to the very bottom there. Look at number 3. Encounters with this creature should not encourage violence or provocation. So they're basically saying if you do happen to see it, please don't shoot at it.
Well, it depends on the scenario.
Do not assume that this creature, if it exists, is antagonistic, aggressive, or belligerent.
Yeah, you could get something provoked, I guess.
And if you encounter this, by the way, if you encounter this creature, don't assume it's trying to get you.
Yeah, that's kind of important. It's like us shooting at aliens.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Shoot first, ask questions.
Right, right.
Because that's how stupid we are.
So yeah, and then additional sightings occurred for several years and then dropped off. If you do a Google search, I'm a big fan of the BFRO's website and stuff, and there's maps that you can find on there, and you can find maps elsewhere too, interactive maps. The Bigfoot forums has a great interactive map on it, actually better than BFRO's by far, that you can go and look and you can see where sightings are and poke around your area. You'd be surprised at what you see, but Illinois is ripe with sightings, and this is nothing new, but it's kind of neat to kind of take a look back, find some actual like police documents. I mean, when was the last time that we've been able to like find official documents? That's always the gem when you get those,
So my question is, all this stuff is from 1973. So is there any recent sightings of this stuff?
No, not any recent sightings that have been attributed to what they're calling Big Muddy. But as far as Southern Illinois Bigfoot sightings, yeah, there's recent ones since 1973 for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot here.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I kind of stumbled upon it. It was just a PDF off the Murphysboro.com website.
By the way, which I'll put in the description below, folks, so you don't have to hunt for that link. It was kind of
goofy. Yeah, you copied and pasted a link, but you couldn't click on it. You go to the Murphysboro website, you couldn't find it, but then we Google searched it and found it.
Which leads me to believe the Talon wanted to hide this thing too.
Yeah, right, that you just can't go find it right off their website. Yeah, so I thought that was a pretty good little find there. Anyway, if you're down in Southern Illinois, keep your eyes peeled, folks, because I'll tell you what, there might be something in the water, in the woods, or watching your 5-year-old kid.
Exactly. That's a true story.
Yeah, it could be, could be. So, Dano, I guess that's what I got for the folks tonight. Hope you enjoyed the show.
Absolutely. Let's put the voicemail up in case people want to.
Oh, yes, yes. 1-256-510-5234. That number again, 256-510-K2D4. Dan, how have we been doing on calls lately? Have they kind of dropped off a little bit?
They've totally dropped off. I haven't been advertising it. I advertise it on the weekly show.
Okay.
Threw it on there once.
Folks, call in. Give us a topic suggestion. Give us your thoughts on some of the shows, or even just call to say hi. I mean,
yeah,
we'd love to have
I'd love to have, even just a short clip we can play before a show would be cool too, as long as it's a non-copyrighted thing, maybe.
Yeah.
Because we've been struggling with that for a little while.
Yeah, now that finally folks are watching us, it seems like the tattletales are out there reporting us a lot more now too.
Yeah, we were talking about the censorship too before the show about.
Oh God, and then YouTube and Facebook have come out and are stifling shows and discussions like ours.
And we've been shadow banned, which I've said this on the regular broadcast. The recommended videos, it's big, folks, because when you have you're watching your main video, and this is how I found out about a lot of other conspiracies. You got your recommendations on the right side. So like I was looking into, I believe it was 9/11, and then. Like
you'd see all these other, see all these other topics and related stuff coming up on the right, and now it's all sorts of weird stuff.
They don't want to promote conspiracy theories anymore, so that's a big thing for them.
Because they're the big gods of knowing all truths, and so oh god, you're gonna fire me up here, Dan.
And then that's the thing, though, is most of it's actually probably true, but they don't want to.
Yep.
It's all because of that. I'm not going to say the word.
Tell us what you think about that. 256-510-5234, 256-510-K2D4.
That's right.
Love to hear your thoughts on that too. So come say hi. We get lonely in the studio sometimes.
We sure do. So let's call it quits. Thank you guys for joining me. Dan Hohlfeld, Pete
Halbleib. Have a wonderful evening, Earth.
Thanks for listening. Visit K2D4Network.com today.